Chinese proverb. To get through the hardest journey, we need to take only one step at a time, but we must keep stepping. Chinese proverb.
Hey everybody, this is Jessica and Darren Salquist. Welcome to Next Level.
Good vibes only.
Woo! Yes, let's break down that proverb that you just shared about. It's real basic, real simple, but in one sentence, how would you just break that down? Keep on stepping.
Keep on trucking. I like that. I always like to say keep on trucking.
Keep on stepping.
I think the reason I selected this quote to lead off today's conversation, because it's all about the journey. And I think sometimes when we get stuck, there's the other quote that it's the start that stops most people. But really, as long as we can take that one step, all we need to know is that next step. We're making movement. We're making progress towards the direction that we want to go in. Even though we might not be able to see the full direction of where we want to go, but if I can see the next step, I'm moving myself in a direction, and that's momentum.
Yeah, I like the building the momentum. So how does this quote today really relate to the topic that we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, so today's topic, if you guys got a chance to check out the meditation that we did around this, it's all about really celebrating the journey and where we've come from to where we are today and to who we're becoming. And so this is what I thought would be cool for Jess and I to reflect as we've been doing this podcast now since 2020, been here with Brennan since 2020, kicking this off, and just I would say the progression of our conversations that we have grown through, all the different types of the podcast and having different guests on our podcast and seeing where we are at that time, things that we have talked about that I know that I've been working on now that I can say that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the coolest thing too, right? Is that this podcast for you and I is a good reflection of our life that we always get to go back on as far as time. Where we have this recorded, we might not be on TV and seeing all this other thing, but I guess there's some YouTube clips, right, that we can go back and see, especially as I'm rocking this nice gray beard right now.
Soon to be gone.
Soon to be gone, as we're finishing up this challenge. But it's progress, and it's all about recognizing the celebration of where I am at today. I think this is where we get stumped sometimes, that we always think we ought to be a little bit further than where we are, and not really celebrating how far that we have actually come.
Yeah, I like that. One of the things in your meditation you talked about at the end about just the steps, right? Sometimes they're the silent, the smaller steps that we take, the things that we overcome that maybe nobody even else knows about, but we do. And those are sometimes, to me, the most important things to celebrate. Because everybody doesn't see every moment that you make an accomplishment or say no when you really wanted to say yes to something, or make a decision in your mind that you processed of not doing something that you know is not for the betterment of yourself. And so becoming, I like the journey of becoming, because we always are every single day. Mm-hmm. As you said, we're building this momentum. Who was I yesterday? Who am I today? And who am I becoming? And that's the choice I get to make. The every day, the effort, the choice, the action, the non-action that I take every day is part of my becoming.
Yeah, both the action and the non-action. And again, that's creating change, right? The only way change is going to happen in your life is by creating change. And that's whether stopping or doing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this, again, going back to where I would definitely say where I started in 2018, this journey of self-development, recognizing for myself that there was things going on in my life that I could change, and the only way that it would change is the number one. I admitted that I needed to create some change. And what was that change that I wanted to create? What did I want my future to look like? And it's not that I need to that we need to have a clear path of exactly where do we want to go. With that being said, it's looking very deep and close. It's like, what can I change right now? And then let that develop and build. Because I think when we first started in Heroic, we weren't thinking about doing a podcast. That wasn't even in our minds. And when I first signed up with Heroic, which was, we always talk about, which was Optimize, that first coaching class, I didn't think I'd be working with my brother at the gym and doing mental performance and physical training, right? I thought my goal was to be using this to become a stronger leader working at St. Luke's, because I knew I wasn't showing up or I wasn't the individual that I knew I was capable of being. And that's what kind of part of this journey is as well, right? Is where am I at today, acknowledging where I'm at, and then who am I capable of being, and then how do I close that gap to who I'm being today and who I'm capable of being.
Yeah.
And that's what's been kind of nice, even still working on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Lifelong.
Yeah, it's lifelong. There's no destination.
Yeah.
The journey, the work is going to go on until I close my eyes for the last time. And I don't know when that is.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. There's lots of thoughts about, our goals and goal setting and reaching, where sometimes we get this mindset of a destination in itself. Just knowing that destination or that target may turn into something different, or it may morph into another level of that target where you're just like evolving. And it's good to accept, for me, it's good to accept that it's evolution for myself. Each day I can bring in something new to learn, put it in my data bank, and then apply it to life as it works for me, as I make choices and decisions and determinations. So I think it's just really important to keep that flow and that balance of understanding, kind of through your meditation too. You kind of talked a little bit about past, where we were, to bring us to where we're at, to then take us to who we're becoming. And I think finding a really good balance and flow between all three of those is really important. And what I've learned about myself is that I tended to spend too much time in the future me. Like, what is that future me going to look like? What do I want it to look like? I think it's really important to have that goal and to have that desire and that drive. But if you spend your focus only there in the future, it's going to feel really discouraging, because there, like you said, there's momentum and there's so many steps to take to get there that you can't just be there. Yeah. It's like we want to fast forward, just like we've talked about before, doing something for 30 days and you get some transformation, but it's not the transformation that you want. And in the mindset, it's really easy to get caught up in, well, I'm not there yet. Like, why can't I make this happen faster?
Yeah.
And that's something that we get to remind ourselves. We do remind ourselves, hey, it's been like 30 days. I mean, I remember saying to you, it's been like 20 days.
That's a long time.
It feels like a long time, depending on what
especially when you're trying
doing.
to break habits.
Yeah, it does. At the same time is imagine that 20 days and then that 40 days and then that 60 days and then checking in with yourself and reassessing, where we're at. We've talked about those kind of things before too.
Yeah, you said a lot there that made my mind. Hopefully I can bring some of this stuff, recall some of these things. But one of the things that you mentioned that really sparked for me was about spending time with your future self and spending a lot of time in there. And I think that who do you feel like who's the person, your past, your present, or your future self that you spend the least amount of time with?
My present self. And that's what, some of the stuff we were talking about, like my challenges that I've moved through, of what that looks like. And I was spending in the last couple of years, I mean, I've had lots of things that have went well, and I celebrate, absolutely. But when I go deep and I find, where's my discern? Like, where's my feeling of me not being good enough, or my feeling of things don't feel right now? It sometimes takes a while to unpack it. You kind of have to open up the suitcase, start taking things out, putting things back, reorganizing it, and be like, how do I unpack this feeling I'm having that I don't, it's strange to me. And so when I unpacked a lot of the things that were going on through my every 21 days, I'm going through an integration. I was able to unpack the fact that very clearly.
Are you saying unpack?
Unpack.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think I said? Something else.
No, I thought you said impact.
Oh, impact. Well, my unpacking did impact me. So what I did really, really clearly message to self was that I am not being present.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought I was being pretty dang present, but I was hanging out with future self. I wrote down here, future focused. Like I was so future focused that I was really miserable because my body and my mind, my conscious is right here in the present.
Yeah.
So I was like living a different version of me that I wasn't even there. And I was already disappointed because I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, no, I love what you're saying because that's why I agree. I when you said that, I was like, we don't spend a lot of time with our present self, and I don't know if that's because it's scary or that's where like meditation comes in, right? And this is where, even though we're providing guided meditation, it's a good place to start if you've never meditated, to have a guided meditation. It just kind of guides you to a place to where you want to go. Where my goal is eventually to get to silent meditation, where it's just me and whatever noises are around. This on Sunday, when we went for a hike, and you guys were running as I'm dealing with this hamstring. I don't know what I want to call it. This hamstring issue that's hindering me right now from my running as we're preparing for Ragnar. I did some hiking and walking, and I looked up this hill. I was like, oh, should I really climb up that hill right now? Because is that going to help my hamstring? I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the top of that hill because I want to see the view. And then when I got up there, oh, it was beautiful. And then the birds were just chirping and singing. And I was just like, oh, I just closed my eyes and I just listened. And that was me being thankful in that moment, being present, of listening to all the beautiful sounds and those birds that were just sounding off. And I even took a video and I posted it on Instagram to share it afterwards. But that's what being present is holding space for that current moment that you're in. And I do the same. I think I don't think I spend a lot of time in my past. And I'm always looking, okay, what can I do to my future to get better? How can I always get better and get better and get better, versus staying right here and being present. But I want to toss that over to Brendan real quick. Who do you think you spend the least amount of time with? The past self, your future self, or your present self?
Oh man, I want to say I probably spend the least amount of time on present as well, because I feel like I'm really good at working on my future self, because I like Jessica was saying, I go to therapy once a week, and that's really how I work through a lot of what I'm working through personally, and so I'm always thinking about like, how can I get better and how can I be better. And then when it comes to like being home with my kids or with Abby, like I sometimes forget that I need to be present. And so it is very much a thing that I'm constantly, dealing with, because I'm always thinking about, I should be happier around the kids. I should want to play with them more. And then when it comes to like them asking me to do that, I will sometimes still choose the like selfish Brennan and like not wanting to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now we're 100% in this room, right? Not spending time with the present self. And I'm wondering same thing out in the audience, that if people are listening, it's like, I want you to reflect on that question. Like, how much time do you spend with your current self on a day-to-day basis? And how much time are we reflecting on ourselves on where I'm at and being at peace? I'm really working from getting away from happiness. I'm just really leaning into peace, that I'm at peace with myself and going there. So that's something. But also, Brendan, kind of what you were saying about with the therapist and working through, this is one thing that we kind of talked about. We did a workshop not too long ago and talked about the past, the present, and the future. And I believe this is from Benjamin Hardy, that sometimes when we look back at the past, we see some of the negative things, and that where we weren't the best version of ourselves, and like our struggles, and that kind of comes back into the present. So we might beat ourselves up about it, and then what does our future look like? But what he talks about is, how do we reframe the past to use that opportunity or that thing that happened that maybe we were in control of, or depending on whatever it was, what happened, is how do we reframe that in a sense that, due to that version of me back then, I learned from that version. That version of me has helped me today in my present to help me become the person that I am and that I'm becoming as I move towards my future. So then that empowers our future, and we can have a different perspective by seeing that we're a stronger person. Even though we might not see it always in the moment, but really we've learned some things from that.
Yeah, I actually, when I talk to my therapist about this, the one thing he always says to me is, it's like, you're doing more than most people are doing, like by even thinking about working on it. So like, don't beat yourself up about, not always doing what you want to do as your present self, because I still make those choices to go play with my kids and to do what they want to do, or to be more happy around them. And so so since I'm working on it, it is already affecting my present self. I don't ever think of it that way.
Yeah. What about you, Jess?
Well, I was thinking, one comment on that is that's the celebrating those really small things that were like, we said yes to it or we said no to something else so that we could experience and do what was most important to us. And those small things are the things too that we silently like want to celebrate. Like, good job, Jessica. Like, good job for doing that. Like, way to go. One of the examples I was thinking of when you were talking about that is, all that past, present, future stuff is remembering kind of the years of transition through my careers in my life and what I did. And I remember, going to college right away, playing soccer in college, and working full time and getting a bachelor's degree, and then working in my field for a little bit, and then deciding this isn't really what I want to be doing. Like, it wasn't fulfilling for me. I didn't feel right. So I ended up going and doing some landscaping and then some wildland firefighting, totally out of my career degree. And then that catapulted me to another place of, I became an NIC, nursing aide. And at that point, then I met you, which was a whole nother story we've talked about before too, but then that inspired me to go get my master's and to get an MSW and go to grad school. And now I'm in the position that I'm in now. And it's like all of those things, even though like through that time, I had lots of ups and downs and challenges and resistance and, self-doubt, all of those things and those experiences put me exactly where I'm at today. And I wouldn't take any of those away. Those are just like career changes, thoughts, focus and thinking like, what did I get a degree for in the first place? And then realizing, well, that was important. That was important for me to be, where I'm at now. Not for everyone, but for my journey, my becoming. That was a timeline of my becoming that took from 94 to 2000, like 2000, maybe, no, actually 2005, that many years I did all those things in between. Yeah. And, that is a very great example of actually like, I always wanted to get my master's, but it just didn't happen in the order or the time frame I wanted to. And then I gave up on it at one point, but it resurfaced. So that is actually a really great example as I'm thinking of, if I got too focused on my future of like that itself, that target, that goal, and wanted to be there quicker than I could have been there, it creates discord in your body, right? It creates stress and it creates doubt. And so I just really appreciate the fact that I got to go on that journey, and I am where I'm at now, but I also didn't appreciate him in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's again, going back and looking at where is life happening to you or is life happening for you? And sometimes it definitely feels like life is happening to us in that moment. But this is where we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be on this podcast together had you not gone through that journey and ended up at St. Luke's. Same thing for myself, where I'm at today. Had I not been fired from St. Luke's and gone through that journey, which is, again, it's a whole nother story, but allowed me to be here today and what I'm doing, which I love what I get to do now, right? And this is where get is gratitude every time that I love where I'm at, and then going through that process. But sharing also the thing about where my journey was, where I did not enjoy school. School was not something that excited me. School was a chore for me. I was more of a doer and going out and working construction and being outside and hard labor or doing whatever is where I kind of found my enjoyment. I wasn't sitting in a classroom and reading a book. Like, am I even going to use this information? You know, I felt there's so many classes that you take that I'm not going to use this class. Like, this is wasting my time right now. Like, why am I even here? But when I was at St. Luke's and I needed to go back to school, I was at Pepsi. And at the time, I'm not saying that it was now, but back when I was working at Pepsi, their attitude was to keep your resume ready all the time because there's 10 people out there that want to take your job. And it wasn't, I didn't have an education and I was making really good money. And I was like, well, I didn't really think they were talking to me because, you know, I worked my way up in the company there. But with that being said, I didn't like that mentality, and just happened to be the physical therapist assistant program started at the Falls. My buddy's wife went through the first year, and I was like, you know what? This is something I can get behind. This is something. I was in the fitness and working out, and it's like, oh, I'm going to be learning about the body. So this is my career. This is my thing. This is like I want to do. I can use all this information. There's all this stuff that I'm going to learn, and I ended up going back to school. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I did. You know, I got myself through it. I worked full time. I worked 2 or 3 jobs. I went through a divorce during that time, but that didn't stop me. So that was something I can look back on, that even though there were some challenging times, but I made it through. And then when I got to St. Luke's, I worked my way up in the company. I always wanted to get into management. And they always said, oh, you got to have a bachelor's degree. And I'm like, I just don't want to get a bachelor's degree. That's not what I want to do. And then fortunately for me, I had a CEO that believed in me, and they changed the job requirements to where it was preferred, not required. But at the same time, if you get into this position of management, you have 5 years to obtain your bachelor's degree. And so I just happened to sign up for an online program at Washington University, Washington University, Western Governors.
WGU.
Yeah, Western Governors University. I just happened to sign up for the program, working towards business, and then the position came open. I ended up getting the position in management. I obtained my bachelor's degree. It took me a little bit longer than I would say it took me as long as it did. But from there, other people have grown. Like, you know, other individuals that are PT assistants worked into management, and they're leading the company to a whole nother level, which was awesome. That I felt that having a CEO that believed in the person versus the initials behind their name kind of put faith in me. And that's also what helped me drive and go into that direction. Am I using that degree right now? Not really. You know, it might come into play here and then, but that's okay. But now my point of this long story is that I have this love of learning. Now I love learning, all right? I mean, I love learning about self-development and what I can do. And now I'm working on still developing a corporate well-being program of some sort, and seeing what I can do here in Spokane to help Spokane flourish, right? Get to decrease chronic disease in this city that I live in. And the way I can do that is through CoreFit, through what you and I do. And how can we help people really work towards developing that best version of themselves, mentally and physically?
Yeah, we talked about redefining healthy aging, which I think we can totally do a whole nother podcast on.
Yeah,
but
we'll get into that.
That is something that we want to definitely talk about, and we will. But question to you. So when you look in the mirror, what do you see and what do you want to see?
I see a handsome individual.
Yep.
No, I mean, I see what I see now. I mean, this is something that you've kind of taught me a little bit, right? We used to be very strong on affirmations, and I was like, what are these affirmations? Just, why do you got to say that to yourself? Like, you got to just believe it. But that's something I have worked towards, because I do believe the power of your word is very powerful to your mindset. I work very hard on removing certain words from my vocabulary that don't benefit me. And so when I look in the mirror, I tell myself that I love me. Mm-hmm. I love the version of me that I am, that who I'm becoming, who I'm being, and who I'm becoming. I thank the past version of me for making all the changes. And not all in one conversation, right? I'm not there for that long, but
you got a dialogue.
And there might be some vanity there too. I check out my body, see where I'm at. Obviously, as I'm into physical fitness, and what changes can I make? You know, I've had times where I'm like, oh man, I look really good, and there's times like, okay, I've had too many pastries. Or when I was drinking beer, like, oh, okay, maybe I need to back off on the beer. That extra beer is not helping my body right now. So I use the mirror as an opportunity of growth.
And when
to not beat myself up. It just as to be honest, it's like, okay, what it shows me what I get to work on.
Yeah. And just like diving a little deeper into that, and going beyond the physical reality of a mirror sitting there and it's reflecting you, like deeper into like your soul. Like when you look into your soul, like what does the mirror show you, and what do you want to see?
Yeah. I mean, now definitely the mirror shows me that the person that I am and what I'm working towards. I think before I mentioned, on my grave, on my tombstone, I was, oh, Darren was a nice guy, but he was an asshole too. That's what I used to see. And now I don't see that any longer. I really see an individual that's about love and kindness, that's working towards being a better version of themselves, that's putting the work in, appreciating right where I am in that moment. I mean, that's where there's maybe a moment there where I can say that's where I'm being present with myself. And I think when we look in the mirror, it's that time to be present. But those are the things that I see. I love the version that I'm being right now, and then working towards who I can become.
And so that who you can become, kind of who you're becoming, what you want to see, kind of same thing. But what do you want to see? Like, who do you want to become? What are your thoughts when it comes to the journey of becoming?
It's not, I would say, okay, some of it's the physical aspect of my body, because I get to see the consistency of showing up. That's the biggest thing I would say in my body would be a reflection of, for me, I'm just speaking for me, a reflection of my habits. And again, as I said, if I look in the mirror, it's like, oh, too many pastries, then that's probably a habit I can start working on, right? If I'm looking at the physical sense. But if I look deep into my eyes and just really, and then look in my eyes and say, hey, I love you, man. Like, I love who you're becoming, and keep doing the work. That's what I see now. I can do that. Or maybe before I don't think I was there. And it's not something, again, I think something that you brought into my life is being able to look in the mirror and look in my eyes and saying that, to say to myself that I love myself.
Yeah.
And as we've talked before, the first word in I love you is I. And I feel for a lot of the individuals when I work with, I ask that question, can you look in the mirror and say, I love you? And people struggle with that. And I believe my thought process behind this is, if you struggle loving yourself, how do you show up for others then in love? Mm-hmm. What about yourself? Let me turn this back on you.
When I look in the mirror, when I think of, one thing that I respond to what you said is it's easy to kind of glaze over the deeper version of yourself when you do look in the mirror, right? It's this external shell that we're seeing, and it is reality that we're looking at it and saying, okay, what can we do better here, there? There's a lot of judgment around the actual physical appearance in a mirror. And that can be challenging in itself. Sometimes I think people have a very hard time just getting past that physical visual that they have to even actually go into that deeper sense of the becoming, the who am I, the identity when they look in the mirror. And I think one gateway to do that, like you said, is saying that I love you. Mm-hmm. And it creates a different connection. All of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not looking at the physical being that I'm staring at right now. I'm looking at maybe my soul, or deep within my eyes of like who I am as a person. And so looking in the mirror, what do I see? I see myself as just a caring, loving, compassionate individual who, that's my true core. Mm-hmm. Does it come out that way all the time? No.
No, yeah.
No.
But nobody's 100%, right?
No. And it's challenging, I think, mindset-wise, when it does come out differently, because my true inner core is someone who is kind, compassionate. I want to care for others and help others, and that's, part of my purpose and who I am. And so I do see that when I take the time to actually be present, right? Going back to this present piece of it of, if I am present, then I feel like I'm more able to connect with my inner being. Yeah. Maybe even more of my subconscious itself, instead of this, reactive, overly stimulated person who's like buzzing around and disconnected,
Yeah.
So as far as what do I want to see, like, what do I see and what do I want to see? I want to see that. I want to see the same things. I want to see a confident person who believes in what they're doing, that is, like you said, has peace in their presence, that is not worried about what's going to happen in the future. Somebody who can smile and get a good, loving feeling. Like if I smiled at myself in the mirror, I hope that like gives me the chills and makes me like smile even more. Even I don't even mind getting emotional about it because it feels like right. Like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing myself. And I've been reading a lot of and listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza and with his heart coherence and the conversations he has about, creating, you talked about affirmation, and affirmation is really huge for me. At the same time as, creating the action from the affirming something, and then you affirm it, but also being able to make a goal or see the future, but experience what that's going to feel like. And Joe talks about relating that feeling to that goal or that belief of who you're becoming, your journey of becoming, having that. He talks about mind movies, which we'll also talk about at another time.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because when I practice some of my meditation, I'm thinking of this future version of me, and then I'm bringing in the heart coherence of the joy and the peace and the love, and I'm feeling it in my body. And that's the connection that he's making, is that you're having this feeling as you're and he doesn't say so much, he doesn't want to say visualize, but you're actually seeing it. It's happening. It's your future. It's part of you, and you're creating this feeling that you feel by having that I don't want to say vision, but having that experience of who you're becoming.
Yeah.
And so, and I love that. And so when I'm looking in the mirror and what do I want to see, is that's the joy. I want to find beauty and joy of being able to look deep within my soul and not so much worry about the external, even though I know that's always part of, something that we're seeing. I want to be comfortable in my own skin. And I work, we work hard for that. And so I wouldn't discredit that as something that's important. Being healthy is what's most important, being well.
Yeah.
But also looking deeper, being able to really look deeper into my heart and my soul and be proud of that.
Yeah.
Just be proud of who I am.
Yeah. Intrinsic and extrinsic, obviously the body's the extrinsic. But it's, again, working on yourself, what does that look like? But one of the things that you talked about, I think with Dr. Joe Dispenza and the mind movies, I think also in The Confident Mind, that I think that's what the book is by, I can't remember the Zinzer, I can't remember what his name is right now, but I think it's The Confident Mind. But he talked about the mind movies, but I think we're not replaying the bad moments in your life, but you're replaying the good moments in your life. So you recognize all these awesome things that you did, and this is where he talks with athletes, if they're on a, maybe, not a hitting streak or something like that, or even quarterbacks, is replaying your highlight reel. Look at all the things that you did were awesome, because that's what you're seeing in your mind. That's what your mind, you get to project what you believe and where you're going and what direction you're moving in. And if you're constantly replaying bad episodes, that's where your mind's going to be.
Your life will be more bad episodes.
Yeah. And what they've also talked about in the research is that sometimes the episode that you're replaying in your mind is not even really what happened.
True.
Because you start changing it, right? Because it's where your self-beliefs are. So if you're going to change anything, work towards the stuff that has worked for you and the things that you, again, where I'm leaning into, where, with some help I got through school with that bachelor's degree, and I've been in a position of leadership, and this is where, all these things that I've done in my past, the work that I've done, I can celebrate. I know areas that I've shown up, and there's areas that I had some great opportunities. And so now, as being level 55, moving towards level 56, I don't see my life as being over. I don't see life as being it's too late. My goals, I don't know what level of life I'm going to get to, right? But if I'm so blessed to get to a level 110, I want to get there in the best. Well, I'm going to give myself the best chance, let's say, to do what I would do right now. My habits are creating my future. I always kind of talk about, if you want to know what your future looks like, look at your habits, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and that's what your future looks like. It could be for the good, and it could be maybe not for the so good. And this is where exercise, and this is what we talked about with healthy aging. I just got back from this healthy aging conference, and there was CoreFit and one other gym, and everything else was about life care. Whether it's assistance or a nursing home, or definitely things that are needed, setting up your will and your trust. But I didn't see a whole lot of moving yourself forward, saying, hey, time to get working on your nutrition and your diet. There were some great speakers there that did talk about nutrition and mindset and habits. I love that we're starting to see it move in that direction. But the fire for me after leaving that conference is I came home and talked to you, and then I'm going to set up talking to my brother in CoreFit and working on networking with any other individuals out there, that healthy aging is healthy aging.
Yeah, that word, healthy aging. It's like, wait.
I would not say this was a healthy aging conference. It was interesting. I don't want to, in case anybody's lived on it like bad. It was a great conference. I'm so glad that I went. It was super awesome. Although I'd like to change what healthy aging can look like, right?
Yeah, I think there's prevention. Right? There's so many
things. We're seeing individuals in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s doing, at least I'm seeing on my Instagram feed, running 400 meters or doing a mile, or just a lady that was level 82. She just finished the Boston Marathon because I guess there's a thing called 6 diamonds that you can earn 6 diamonds. Maybe, Brent, do you know anything about that? Like there's 6 marathons that you run.
Yeah, I forget what it's called exactly, but yeah, there used to be like 4, and now there's like 6, including like Tokyo and another city, new city. But yeah, there's definitely like a marathon. This thing you can collect to do all the big marathons in the world.
Yeah, and this lady was level 82. When I say level, it's age 82, right? Level 82, and because they asked her, why'd you do this? She goes, because I gotta get that last diamond. Like I've earned all these, I gotta get the last one. And they're like, you think you're gonna run an air marathon? And she's like, I don't think so. This was it. I wanted to earn it, right? But she had a goal, right? She had a determination. She just didn't show up and go run the Boston Marathon, right? Yeah. She got to do the work, right? She found her why, and it was important enough to her to get her out there. And she looked in amazing shape. It was awesome. I think there's another lady that I follow. I want to say she's in her 90s, but she's doing like ninja stuff. I mean, this is what's possible.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, why I say we're leveling up. We're not getting older. I want to change the mentality of what people think of what aging is. Aging is not a bad thing.
No.
It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And the goal is to get to the highest level possible. At least that's my goal. And to do it with everything that's within my control. And if I'm healthy, I think we got to see this with one of our members that got septic, got really sick. Could have very well passed away. It was very close. But I think because of his consistency of showing up to the gym and his working on his fitness helped pull through this, right? He had muscle, which allowed his body to use to help heal himself through this event.
And bringing it back to just the focus today is like taking that step forward and that momentum. And by focusing on your health and prevention, you're really taking those steps. You can't do it overnight.
Yeah.
And if you're not there yet, then great. Today's the day, or, wake up tomorrow and get your shoes on and start moving. But I think the concept of being able to really just take that step, no one's going to take it for you.
No,
it's your step. And basically, it's your choice to do that. One of the other things too, with what we're chatting about is, you kind of brought up a few questions about, shifting beliefs and what shift and what you would be doing a year ago, or what you're doing now that you would not have done a year ago. So do you have something specific that, what are you doing now that you wouldn't have done a year ago?
I'm not drinking beer.
Well, that's huge.
I haven't alcohol. I think I've maybe had 2 glasses of wine in this whole year since May. May will be coming up on a year.
Oh, we didn't celebrate with water. We didn't celebrate with our sparkling water.
Oh, it's not May yet.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah,
We're going to celebrate.
When this is released, we'll be celebrating. But that's one big thing that has really surprised me. I didn't think I would, if you listen to past podcasts, so there's moments that I talked about it and struggle with certain words and selecting certain words. But now I can say, I don't drink beer.
Yeah.
I don't see, at least right now, I don't see myself drink. I'm not someone to say never. But going in that direction, and then also one thing that I'm really doing well that I'm super excited about is my journaling practice has really gone to another level.
Yeah.
And that's what I've gotten to see. The reason that I would say that I'm at where I'm at now is because of journaling. That's the opportunity for me to be present with myself, reflect on my day. And I think there's a quote, a day well lived is a day to be reflected on, right?
Yeah.
And to look at, and again, not every day is a home run and it's not meant to be. But the goal is to at least get to the plate and take a swing and do your best.
When you kind of mentioned a little earlier, but just the years of doing the podcast, and I could really think, I can relate our years of podcast is as a verbal journal. It's kind of like a verbal journal for us because there's been, we're on this journey with everyone. We're on this journey with those who are listening. We're on this journey with our community and that people we're surrounded by. And what's amazing about it and why we do this is that this podcast itself helps us get to utilize both of us, the love of learning, but the love of also sharing and helping others and engaging with our community and making connections, and that hoping that anything and some of the things that we say connect with somebody or they have meaning for someone that inspires them to take that first step, right? As we're talking about today, is like take those steps one in front of the other to build some momentum. And I love the fact that we can reflect back and see our journey itself and what we have applied. Like you said, you talked about a lot of different things that you're working on, and we could actually do a podcast where we're like, okay, in this podcast we said this, and this is where we're at with this, because it would be like this contrast of this then and now. And I think that would be, just even if we did that individually, of something that we'd be able to reflect on and be able to celebrate a lot of things, and find out what truly was important to us and what we really honed in on, that helped us, take our life to the next level.
Yeah. What about yourself? Anything that you're doing now that you'd like to celebrate or
that I wasn't doing a year ago? Basically, we talked about changes in like our diet and healthy and I, I've been anti just eating meat for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like I love protein and it's so important and it's for health. But anytime anybody brought up, the word carnivore or focusing on meat, I would be like, that's not sustainable. And I still agree. For me personally, carnivore for life is not sustainable. That is not anything that I am promoting for myself or, people got to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
And they got to do the research, right? So a friend of ours actually asked Darren, wanted to challenge Darren to do carnivore for 30 days. And I happened to be sitting there and I was like, oh, absolutely not. Like, I was like, no, right away. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, why would I even do that? That's not even like, I can't even imagine. So within less than maybe 3 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so we did it.
Yeah.
And basically Darren and I have been on this really great journey, which, whenever we challenge ourselves to do something, we do a lot of research and we figure out, okay, what's going to work, what's not going to work. And Darren and I both did a lot of research on if we were to just eat meat, basically meat and fat. I do allow myself to have some fit aids.
Yeah, I got a fit aid sitting in front of you right now.
I get fit aids and I get my amino acids and I get my creatine. Those are absolutes for me that I didn't want to take out of my protocol, my regimen. And so going through that's something that I absolutely would not have done. But what I realized and what I learned, we're coming in the next few days, we're going to be doing it for 33 days. And what I learned about myself was huge. Yeah. It was huge of just the foods that impact my body differently, how I want to move forward with my relationship with food. I mean, we had literally mourned the loss of certain foods that we weren't having. And that really gives insight to the types of relationships we have with what we put in our mouth. So with that, like an absolute no thing that I was like, okay thing. And then I was full board 100% in, and I was researching and using AI and developing plans. And the beautiful thing of it is that I wanted to get to this point where I had a really great baseline to where I feel physically. Because I have had a lot of inflammation, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And it was really frustrating and challenging.
It's not coming from me.
It's not coming from you.
No, meat.
Oh, meat. I thought you said me. I'm like, okay. Well, it's not coming from meat, definitely. So I felt pretty strong that would be a good way for me to see what is.
Yeah.
What I'm really excited about, though, is in the next coming weeks, I have a very specific lined out plan of what foods that I'm going to be introducing back into my life every few days. And I'm only introducing a couple things a week. And I'm starting off with, cucumbers, and I switched around. But it was like cucumbers and peeled cucumbers, cooked a zucchini. And I believe I allowed myself some coconut milk is what I'm going with. And so I'm really excited to see every few days what that's going to look like. And it's just data, it's data.
Yeah.
And I get to learn about myself, and I get to I feel really good right now. I've been able to convert energy into not using just sugar for fuel. And now it's converting and metabolizing and using energy for fat, using my fat as energy, I should say. Sorry.
I mean, we both have really had great results.
Super great. Yeah.
I was not a big vegetable lover, but since not having been like, oh man, I miss the vegetables, right? I've seen, okay, I do love vegetables. Definitely missing the fruit. And so I think those are the things. And then the cravings that I had of wanting to snack in the evening, recognizing how often I was snacking at times when I didn't need to. That's been a big opportunity for me to say no more. So that showed me also that I can do it, right?
Yeah.
And saying no to eating at a certain time just because of the willpower is there. And then only eating meat. So that's one thing I just really love that you enjoyed. And I want to throw a shout out to Ramstead Ranch out in Ione Prairie. Out in Ione, Washington. If you guys are looking for any type of really great beef or bison, lamb, pork, chicken, it's a
regenerative farm,
man, and they are amazing individuals. Jess and I had the opportunity to go out and visit their farm. We thought we'd be out there for a couple hours. We got there at 10 a.m. We didn't leave till 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And the only reason we left is because it was just getting late and we need to get home to the dogs and the cat. And otherwise, we probably would have stayed the night because it was just an amazing time spending time with Stan and Jean and Eileen and Chris.
Yeah,
there's amazing individuals, and if you guys are listening, thank you for the hosting. And they threw down a smorgasbord of meat. They invited us. Hey, we're gonna have lunch. We're gonna do a workout. They also have a great piece of property that we did the workout on. And then I go, hey, we're just eating carnivore, by the way. They're like, oh, no problem. We got you covered.
We got a lot of meat here.
But we'll wrap this up. I know we could go long on this. Like, this is an awesome conversation. Brandon, is there anything you want to add? And where you're at? What is anything that you've given up in this last year that you are happy for?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound anti to podcasting, but I last year I decided to quit doing the Spokecast podcast for just because it was giving me a lot of stress in my life, a lot of anxiety, and I wanted to focus on growing my business. And I'm not sure how much I've grown my business after stopping it, but I've definitely definitely got rid of a lot of anxiety I had with trying to always do an episode and get content out there, and it really just it was like a big thorn in my side just because I had been doing it for 5 years, and I wanted to focus on doing other things. And so it's definitely in that time I've ran a marathon in Japan. I've started hanging out with my kids more and just being more present there. And so I think those type of things have been big wins where I used to focus a lot of effort in helping, doing my podcasts. And now I'm very much more focused on my family and my well-being.
Yeah, man. Awesome. We'll celebrate you with that. That's awesome. And that took courage to step away from that, right? Mm-hmm. So, man, nice work and putting yourself first. And then you're getting to reflect on the outcomes and the benefits right now. The biggest thing I'm hearing is spending time with your kids.
Yeah.
And then also a cool trip to Japan. So. All right, you guys,
just, some of the questions that we asked each other, those are some great prompts for you all to ask yourself those questions. And I want to just remind you to give yourself permission to celebrate yourself and to surround yourself around other people that want to celebrate you. I think that's a huge part of encouraging us to move forward and to go on our journeys and who we want to become and who we're becoming, is to make sure that you are surrounding yourself around others that want to celebrate you too, and that see where you want to go and want you to get there also.
Yeah, and come back to that quote, right? It's about one step, man. That's all that we need to take every single day, is just taking that one step, moving us forward, knowing that we don't need to be perfect. It's not about perfection. We're going to learn all the time, and that's we're winning or we're learning. We're never losing. So just want you guys to celebrate yourself, celebrate where you are, celebrate the person that you were, because that person that you were is got you here today. And if you guys haven't checked out that meditation, check it out. And at the end of that meditation, there's some prompts to kind of help guide you as well. I just want to say thank you. I love you, babe.
Love you.
Let's take our life to the next level with
good vibes only.
Peace. Congratulations, and I want to say thank you for sticking with us and listening to this topic. But I want to leave you for some actionable steps that you can take immediately after listening to this podcast, or once you get into your home if you are driving. I want you to think about writing down your answers to these focused questions. What is that one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And then I'd like for you to schedule a time for that primary task that you just wrote down. So those are your actionable steps. Thank you.